Gulfport, writes, I have a cousin who announced at a family gathering a few months back that he is an agnostic. We all found this strange since he was raised Catholic, went to Catholic schools, seemed to have a good faith life. Should we try to say things to bring him back to faith, or just pray that he recognizes the truth?
That's a great question. Yeah, and I don't have the church's authority on this, but I will say from experience that I would say, I know it sounds like the obvious answer, but I'd say be holy. Live the Catholic faith as fully as you can. Witness the faith, because saints do start fires, like Father Dubé says it, or said that people notice holiness. I know it happened in my life, and I'm not talking emotion. I'm talking about conviction. I'm talking about when someone comes to see something, when they see holiness really played out, they recognize it. I think it's good. I think, again, books. I've lent people books that were struggling. I try to be very humble how I do it. I'm a very passionate person, and I can come on strong. So I've learned, I've been humbled many times to do it in a humble way of understanding and be compassionate and remember where I came from. But those seeds are planted. And so I would talk about the faith, absolutely, and I would do the things. I think people make a mistake when they're afraid to push someone away from the faith, so they stop living it outwardly. For instance, in prayer and so forth. But to witness it, but also not be preachy. Witness it powerfully, but not be preachy. And say things like, here's a great book. There's some great books out there that they can read, and just say, I thought this book might be beneficial. The worst thing that can happen is they're going to say, they'll take it to be polite, and then they won't read it. And then pray before the Blessed Sacrament. I mean, again, it seems like an obvious answer, but pray for that person's conversion.
Well, a lot of, not just Catholics, but Christians, when they feel the challenge to share their faith, they feel inadequate.
Absolutely.
Who am I to share?
Absolutely.
I don't know my faith well enough. I'm not going to be able to. So the devil, works in our lack of confidence to keep us. But the beauty of the book side of things, or tapes or DVDs, is that first of all, you read it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So that not only does it feed you, but you kind of know what's in that book as you're giving it away, right, in case that person comes back with a question about that book. You don't want to say, oh, well, I didn't read it myself. No, you don't want to. But that way you build your quiver full of arrows that you're going to use. So you take, and that feeds you. But as you said, you never let it go without the power of prayer. Even if that person puts it up on a shelf and it sits there for a year or two, you never know.
You never know if they'll pick it up. I loaned a book. It's a really long story, but I'll just tell you real quick that I loaned a book to a young man. He was actually a young man my daughter knew in college, and I was unashamedly lending him this book on Catholicism. He wasn't Catholic, but he was dating my daughter, and I wanted him to know what we believe. And he didn't read it, but another friend who had fallen away from the faith did pick it up. He said, hey, what is this? Do you mind if I read this? And I was like, sure, you can read it. I don't care. And I'm not going to say that book. I don't know if that book, but I know that was part of his journey back to the church, to a vibrant faith, this young man. And so books, maybe it's not the time that they'll read it. But I'm glad you said that, Marcus, that if you read it, it also opens up that you can discuss, then if they have questions. So I'm glad you qualified that. And plus, you want to know that whatever you're giving them is solid, because, you want to make sure that it's a solid faith that it's coming from.
Yeah, and some authors, when they write their books, are sensitive to the audiences they're writing.
Yes.
Some books are too Catholic to give to some non-Catholic. So you got to know that yourself. Where are they at in the stage? But that's why, for example, Doug Keck does the Bookmarks program on EWTN to help